So then we go to January 2010. This is something for many brothers and sisters who you're hearing some of the stuff and it seems a little crazy for you. This is something that you'll remember, but that we, again, another pass that we've given, that we really shoot ourselves in the foot for being so irresponsible to the interests of African people when this happened. The bomb hit the fault line in Haiti and caused an earthquake. Now the Haitians are under assault under the guise of a so-called natural disaster. We all know what happened there. And now the foundation of the nation is crumbling, and I believe it was Port-au-Prince. And in the area where the earthquake was made to happen was the area where they have found the largest oil reserves. Some say that the oil reserves they found in that region of Haiti under Port-au-Prince make Venezuela's oil reserves look laughable. So we're talking about incredible amounts of oil found in Haiti a year before, in 2009. So in 2010, boom, here comes this manufactured explosion, creating an earthquake, as if we've ever heard of an earthquake in Ireland. They get hurricanes, not earthquakes. At any rate, now the country needs rebuilding. Out of all the people in the universe that he could pick to head that up, he's got Trans-Africa people. He's got our brother, what's our brother that works for Haiti so much? Our brother does really great work. Man, I'm drawing a blank, but y'all know the brother I'm talking about. If you remember his name, well, when we come to the phone lines, please bring the brother's name up. I apologize for getting the brother's name. He does really great work for Haiti and been doing it for years. He has an organization that does that, and he's always out there doing positive stuff for the brothers and sisters from Haiti. And he's not even from Haiti, but he's a good brother in our community. I forget his name. I'm just drawing a blank. And also, not that I'm saying no rapper like Wyclef is good, but even somebody like Wyclef, who is Haitian and does love his own people, would have been better. Any number of people who would have been appropriate for this. Do you remember, brothers and sisters, who he put in charge of going in to quote-unquote rebuild Haiti? Right. None other than George W. Bush and Bill Clinton. Now, for black people who at that time were confused about what was going on, that should have been the linchpin for every brother and sister out here to say, okay, wait a minute. Out of all the individuals in the universe that you would pick, in the known universe, to deal with a catastrophe with black people, how in God's green earth would you possibly pick George Bush? Thank you. Ron Daniels is the brother I'm talking about. He was the natural pick. Ron Daniels has been doing great work for brothers and sisters in Haiti. There's no question about the fact he was the guy for Haiti when that happened. Did he pick Ron Daniels? No. Was Ron Daniels available and made himself available? Did he even do the work? Yes. But he was prevented from having that opportunity, and it was given to George Bush. After the Bush-Brown massacre in New Orleans, is commonly referred to as Hurricane Katrina, where the small hat Michael Brown and George Bush basically watched and planned out the genocide of African people when they blew up those levees, when those levees were blown up down there in New Orleans. And if you talk to any of the local officials, the black ones in New Orleans, I know people that went to New Orleans to visit, and the elected officials will tell you, and the workers that work, they say, yeah, everybody here knows they blew up the levees. It's a fact. Many of us heard the levees being blown up when it occurred. The hurricane didn't kill nobody. The hurricane wasn't even a real bad hurricane. It was the levees being blown up intentionally, and then the response, because even the initial flood didn't kill a lot of people. The fact that they would not send in people to help our people, and they turned trucks with truckloads of water away from our people, those are the things that killed our people during what they call, commonly referred to today as Hurricane Katrina. So this is just very important information to remember. The fact that he would take George Bush and put him in control and in charge of what was going on in Haiti, it speaks incredible volumes in terms of who he represents and interests he represents. Everybody knows that the Bush family are vipers as it relates to catastrophes in countries and the opportunity to profit from the quote-unquote rebuilding of nations. I mean, it's common knowledge for people who study this phenomenon of the destruction or creation of wars and the rebuilding of wars and the economic boom that's created through that whole infrastructure process. So I want everybody to think about that, because that's something he did in 2010. 2011, it really starts to pick up because now we're starting to talk about what we call these homo wars. And we're basically, this administration is promoting the rape and torture of men throughout the world. A lot of people don't recognize and don't know and are not aware of the stuff that's happening. But brothers and sisters, the stuff that's going on around the world is incredible in terms of the rape and torture and the promotion and the forced acceptance of homosexuality on many people. I'm going to play just a real quick clip that gives just an idea of the level that this thing has gone, just so that you can get an idea of what we're talking about in terms of how what starts to happen as in 2011 as the push to promote homosexuality throughout the world becomes an intense war where economics is being used, rogue thugs in different communities and around the world internationally are being trained to rape and sodomize men throughout various countries around the world. And this is all being done under the current administration. It had started under administration before, but now it's getting very intense. This is just a very brief clip. It just gives you a little bit of an idea of the world situation as it relates to the forced promotion of homosexuality.
Focusing the spotlight on the suffering of men sexually abused in conflict and wartime all over the world. The silent victims who've been ignored for years, the hundreds of thousands of them. Why don't we know about them? What does the world need to do to provide legal resources, moral and psychological support to men suffering these abhorrent crimes? This is Inside Story. Hello, welcome to the program. I'm Jane Dutton. Hundreds of thousands of men have been raped by men. Some of them gang raped, some of them repeatedly, and some for many years. A sex crime so common, the numbers almost equal that of female victims during war times. It's the double taboo with hidden victims, and it is a secret so well kept even the UN is accused of overlooking it. Occasionally it hits the headlines when photographs of sexual abuse emerge of Iraqi men at the Abu Ghraib prison in Iraq in 2006. But thousands of cases remain unreported, denied by both the victim and the perpetrator. It's a tool for torture and humiliation. Rape, not least of men during wartime, is used to silence the enemy. So why is a crime so serious being ignored and unpunished? In some parts of the world, rape against men is not even recognized as a crime, defined only as forced homosexuality.
Thought it was important to hear that part. Forced homosexuality. I know this is very shocking, and some people who are not informed, who have not been following the information that One Horizon has been putting out for the last, I would say, consistently since 2008, probably before that. Letting people know on a regular basis the intensification of the white sex war, the homosexual, the pedophilic war against the world, in particular black people. So 2011 becomes a year of a mix of two things: the homosexual wars, which means forcing homosexuality on everybody around the world, and also the AFRICOM military war against African people. So at the same time, let me just give you an idea. March 2011, Obama administration cuts aid to Uganda unless they accept homosexuality. So we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars of aid going to be cut to Uganda this March 2011 unless they accept homosexuality. And Uganda's still fighting, saying we just won't get the aid, but we don't want AIDS for aid. You go into June 2011, Obama administration passes a resolution to enforce homosexuality worldwide, where they basically now have put it into law and are pushing for international law, but U.S. law, foreign policy, saying every country around the world will accept homosexuality. August 2011, the Obama administration tries to enforce homosexuality in Uganda, basically saying we're not asking the Ugandans whether or not they will accept homosexuality. Uganda, you will accept homosexuality. And in fact, they had David Bahati, one of the proponents against homosexuality in Uganda, start talking about how I think he said $15 million had been used over the last 7 months to make DVDs, to pass out to children throughout Uganda, to buy computers for children, to coax them into homosexuality. Millions of dollars have been used, and they had proof of it, to promote lesbianism and homosexuality among Ugandan children. And so it's a war that they're fighting in Uganda, and this is something that David Bahati made very clear, and the Ugandans have been fighting. Malawi, another African country, August 2011, $350 million in financial aid rescinded unless Malawi accepts homosexuality. So basically, U.S. said, look, you're going to either accept homosexuality and get rid of these laws against homosexuality, or this $350 million that we promised you this year, you're not going to get. And so Malawi, feeling as though it needs that aid and the aids that's going to come with it, capitulated and said, this is going to have a devastating impact on our culture. We don't want this, but we need the money. So they accepting the money and allowing homosexuality in that country now. October 2011, the United Kingdom, to reduce aid to African countries who don't accept homosexuality. So 2011 was a pure assault on African people from the Obama administration and the international white administrations of the world, which the Obama administration works with and pretty much is working in tandem with. They're all one and the same. But at the same time, the stepping up of AFRICOM and putting black troops, training black troops essentially to overthrow African nations, particularly any one of them that get nationalistic and allow the invasion of Europeans to come in for the resources and to what we would call colonize or really take the continent. They're preparing it by having a base in every country except I think it was Egypt. So you have, like 50 AFRICOM bases all throughout Africa with whites in Africa with bases training black people to go and kill the black people to take the land and resources for the white folks. Now, they don't necessarily tell the blacks to do it. They just train them to do it. What people don't know is that part of the military training that the Taliban and various other military groups, particularly throughout Africa, the Tutsis who talked about how they had genocide committed against them in Rwanda, but then they went down. Their military Tutsis went down and had been trained to rape black men. In fact, they have stories, a number of stories. They don't have time to go through everything, but just so you can understand how psychopathic and how serious this is. They have brothers that talk about how they go into their villages in places like Uganda, and these Tutsi troops, having been trained by white governments around the world, the man would tell a story every day for a year of his life. 12, I don't know how many of them. It was at least 10. At least 10 men from ages of 12 to maybe 25 would wake him up in the morning and systematically, one by one, rape him. And it wasn't just him. There were a lot of men. Some of the men would die just because they'd be raped so much. And the pain, the bleeding, they would bleed so much from the anus, they would die. Other men, like himself, he lived, but understand what he's living with. Every day for a year, we're talking about 365 days, every day he gets up, 10 men rape him. That's how his day starts. So if you can understand it, this is the training that they're getting from European forces, which is why you saw what you saw in the Abu Ghraib prison in the United States and what you see around the world. This is the white world government foreign policy, including the United States foreign policy, this training of these troops around the world that are raping people.